Tim O'Connor, 'cause he believes in the Constitution. And as your assemblyman, he will be your voice. He'll never let you down, make Tim his choice. Hallelujah, hallelujah. We finally had a man who hears your voice. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Tim O'Connor is the only choice. Write in Tim O'Connor, Libertarian, for New York State Senate, Senate District 51.
Hey guys, it's September 30th already, 2020. We are loving life, guys. We're living large. Things are going well. The likes, the shares, the comments are absolutely critical to the enjoyment of doing this and to the enjoyment of us getting together and having a conversation. And I think that we have a lot to talk about. But first, guys, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's courage to continue that counts, and that's what we're doing. So if you're in the lobby, give a like, give a share, ask a question. But I think we've got to talk about a few things. Coming up tomorrow, I'm driving out to Homer, New York, and I'm going to get interviewed by WXHC Radio out in Homer, New York. It's a PBS station. I hope you guys can find a way to PBS, NPR, something like that, public radio. And I'm looking forward to that interview. There's some stress in my life right now, so I'm wondering how it's all going to play out. But whatever, we're going to make our we're going to do our best to show up. Now, Friday at the Shire Pub over in Delhi, guys, please stop by, meet Larry Sharp, meet Victoria Alexander, and meet me. I'll be there. We're all going to take turns talking and hanging out and answering questions and talking about our solutions that we can use to grow our economy in upstate New York. That's what being a libertarian is about. That's what the future is about. And I think that that's a reality that we have to face, that we are looking at an economic situation that is, I would have to say, beyond challenging. But guys, we got to fall back on the notion that we have each other to work out the coming financial difficulties. We see our schools are faced with incredible budget cuts. We can predict that the billions of dollars in shortfalls in the current budget, based on the government response to COVID, is going to exacerbate and continue. So, on that note, if you guys are ready, I'm more than willing to talk about the debates last night. I think as we watched everything unfold there, it's become apparent to me, and hopefully to some of you, that the media in particular does not have any interest in serving the country. The questions, the list of questions that were asked, that it was literally designed to get those two guys arguing over what I consider to be, on some level, minutia. All right. So if you want to be pro-Trump, if you want to be pro-Biden, please leave your comments over there. That's fine. We'll talk this through. We'll work this out. It can be interesting, but I think we've got to unpack a certain notion that this duopoly kind of system, this kind of program that we're working on, that we've been running on for decades now, is reaching a critical mass, a critical point where it's literally designed to make us argue. It's literally designed to reach into our id, get us upset, and get us going at each other's throats. Now, everywhere I looked today, and guys, this isn't, I'm a libertarian. You know that. I want to serve my community. I want you guys to understand that I'm committed to serving my community, our community, Senate District 51. So when I see this top level government and the media investing in it, I want to have conversations about it. I want to talk about it. I think we've got to blow up the notion that the media doesn't serve us, that this duopolistic system where we're denying third-party candidates access to the debate stage is in it of itself part of the problem. I don't know. Talk to me about it. Let me know what you think. anyway, remember, guys, the likes and comments and the shares are why I do this. And if I don't get any tonight, that's fine. I understand. There is the coming apocalypse, the purge that we're looking at on Facebook. I'm wondering and I'm concerned. And if you guys want to keep in contact with me, if you want to keep in touch and keep having conversations, we've got my Twitter link right there. Let me put up you can go to YouTube and look for me, Tim for New York State Senate, District 51. You can find me there. I think that those things are going to be important regardless of how we move forward here. So getting back to the debates, I listened to them, and so maybe I'm not at my smoothest tonight, but guys, give me a chance to warm up here. The issue I found with the debates that drove me crazy is, where was the discussion of policy? I don't feel like it was there. I feel like they wanted to fight over things that had been used in the media, misinterpreted in the media, and that they had success with getting people upset over. So, for example, let's see. Let's go with let's talk about the issue of I may have a cocktail or two. I think that that's an appropriate thing for an adult to do. And you know who else drinks bourbon? Jo Jorgensen. Period. So one of the things I noticed today, and everywhere I went, people wanted to talk about the issue that third party is not allowed on the debate stage. And I think that we could see where that would be a benefit after last night, where we could certainly, it certainly would have been a better discussion about policy and about decision making and about governmental decision making and about top level governance. We didn't talk about budgets, we didn't talk about deficits, or if we did, it was just like some sort of insane kind of level of bickering. And I found that to be very unfortunate, and I always find that to be very unfortunate, but we're at a fever pitch in the media right now because they're desperate for money, because they're desperate for revenue, they are desperate to craft things that are going to get people to fight because they think that makes them money. The whole debate was a SHIT show. There wasn't any policy, just whiny ass nonsense. What was your favorite part? What was your least favorite part about the debate last night? I'd love to see that typed up in the comment section because I'd love to comment on that. Oh, by the way, Andrew Hamill, Monday night at the very least, is also going to be in attendance. I'm sure he's going to give a speech and have a conversation about what he wants to do with the town of Maryland and what he can do to make that better. And so, guys, I've been sending out invitations. Facebook is acting really weird. So I don't know if you guys are getting these invitations, but if you want to participate, if you see this, if you want to stop by, if you need more information, get at me at my Senate page, get at me on my personal page. We will have communication. It's Monday night at Reds/Legends down on Main Street, right across from the police station. Larry Sharp's going to be there. Victoria Alexander is going to be there. I'm going to be there. Maybe even Jake Cornell is going to be there. Andrew's going to be there. And so that's going to be an interesting event. I'm actually going to take some campaign money that I've managed to raise and buy some food so that everybody gets a little bit of a head start on the kitchen. So there'll be some bonus food there for everyone. It will be a good time to meet Larry. And Larry is great. He's great on the internet. He's even better in person. I'm not even kidding. He's fantastic. He's a showman, but he's also, you can just sense his energy. You can just appreciate his effort. You can appreciate who he is when you meet him in person. The debate last night with two school children in the yard fight. Yes. With a son. Yeah, I think it was exactly like that. And I used to have a reasonable amount of respect for Chris Matthews. And after the debate last night, I feel like he probably slipped about 17 notches on my respect platform. Okay. I don't think that he handled the situation right. I think that he fell into the trap of hoping to generate revenue off of this, hoping to generate attention to his news show and other news shows. And I found that to be very unfortunate. I find that to be a very unfortunate place for our society to be. And let's get right to this. Yeah, Andrew, I think that when I talk to conservatives and I talk to libertarians, and even there's a reasonable number of Democrats, I think that what we're seeing is this stifling of free speech and this directed nature of what we're considering to be speech to where we end up upset, to where we end up arguing. I think it let's call it an undeniable, incontrovertible fact. Okay, that's one of the things that's going on there. He could go to, yeah, he would fit right in there. These guys are jumping ship and moving around, and I think we're seeing less and less of a difference in mainstream media. Even people that used to love Fox are coming to me and saying, "Oh my God, Fox News is not doing it." Yeah. All right, let's go over. Let's unpack this. Policy doesn't herd the sheep. The debate commission is owned by the Democrats and the Republicans. If our media had a set, they would create their own commission and invite them all. Unfortunately, our media is in bed with the politicians. Till the herd smartens up, we will be fed SHIT. I love that word because I think it's appropriate right now. Till the herd smartens up, we will be fed Chris Wallace, not Chris Matthews. He got booted from the media on set. Yeah, Chris Matthews did. And all these guys, there's this like cultural purge going on. And I'm afraid we're going to see that as far as the Facebook platforming and YouTube platforming and Twitter platforming. There's going to be a purge on those too. Maybe. I don't want to be paranoid, but the rule change that's coming in. So yeah, till the herd smartens up. And guys, I think one of the ways that the herd can smarten up, one of the ways that we can start communicating better is by instant recognition that a third party or a fourth party or that your views are being suppressed, even if you are a Republican or a Democrat, but you don't buy into what we would call the mainstream party operations. Okay. If you are a Republican and you're looking at the Republican Party and going, I don't know, this doesn't really work. Or if you're a Democrat and you're like, man, we could have had a better candidate. And so when we look at those two situations and we don't have a third party to at least get those guys to be better Democrats, get the parties to be better Republicans. And also, as Thomas Massie and Justin Amash are continuously pointing out, they make money, the two parties, Republicans and Democrats, they make money off of raising revenue for their campaigns and for getting seats on committees in Congress. So it is a money-based, money-oriented system, and people want to talk about the ways to fix that. And I got to a little Twitter argument with somebody today, and I tried to explain to them that situation is not fixable in the context of how we're doing things now. Okay. People have great ideas on how to straighten out the system. But what then they're trying to say is that the system is going to fix those things. So they want to break up and have open committee meetings, and they want to talk about de facto and de jure participation in bribery or brubery. And that all of those are great conversations, but there's no solution without, guys, I mean it. And I'm trying to appeal to your intuition, and I'm trying to get you to think there's no way to fix that without having a third party who has a real presence. So, Pat, I can't see exactly what that link is because it's coming through like that. But welcome to the show, brother. This is officially my brother. He's out in Colorado, one of the states that looks like freedom to us in New York. They have legalized marijuana. They have talk about mail-in balloting. They have mail-in balloting out in Colorado, and they're very comfortable with the way the system works out there. I think if we want to talk about mail-in balloting, though, we have to talk about the fact that we did not prepare for mail-in balloting. We will not be prepared for mail-in balloting. We're going to be looking at an election system around November 3rd where, again, the mainstream media is going to come at us and give us things to be upset about. They're going to find ballots in mud puddles and ballots in lakes, and they're going to be able to allege that it's a Trump thing or an anti-Biden thing, and they're all. It's just going to be what I would call a disaster. Okay, they're going to be doing it on purpose, man. Brother, what's going on, man? Were you out there in Cleveland yesterday? I wasn't quite sure if I understood you correctly, and if you were, that's amazing. I'm impressed, man. Good for you. And if you weren't, I'm still impressed with you. You know that. All right. When you add the PAC money plus campaign money, what would possess people to spend that kind of money to make sure their guy gets in? Yes. What would possess them? I think as libertarians, we know the answer to that. And I feel like everyone should know the answer to that. There's a certain level of obviousness about the answer to that question. And it's that they buy access to Congress with that money. They buy access to favorable legislation, like Hunter Biden getting money. Guys, make no mistake about it. Hunter Biden got lots of money because he was connected to his father and because he could influence favorable legislation by reaching out to politicians, donating them some of the money that he gets, and crafting legislation where programs in other countries, guys, and this is real, okay? This is real. The programs in other countries can get funded with US dollars. That's absolutely real. That's why Hunter Biden got money. That's what Burisma is about. That's what the mayor of St. Petersburg's wife giving him $3.5 million is about. And I saw nothing that has debunked that story. Okay, so if that story is not true and you want to share with me a debunking of it, I would be more than happy to look at it. But big money rolls around through campaign coffers from strange places because these guys can then influence legislation that funds programs in other countries. That's what that stuff is about. Oh, okay. All right, cool. But still, man, you're doing the work. I don't know if you want to head down our way this weekend, but there's a lot of big events going on. Spike Cohen is going to be in Binghamton on Sunday. I think that's going to be a fun event. I plan on attending that. The Old Guard has an event planned on Sunday morning. I think I'm going to be able to attend both things on Sunday, and I think I'm going to have a good time meeting people and hanging out and offering what I have to offer. The campaign, the debate, I imagine you mean? The campaign last night was like watching Who's on First with Biden and Trump instead of Abbott and Costello. So yeah, no, the campaign last night, it was a little bit, let's put it out there. It was a little bit like a comedy show. It was a little bit like but with anger, right? A comedy show with anger. And guys, I don't know, man. It's not just Hunter, it's other people close to Biden as well. Yeah, his brother, his family, and I've read a couple articles on it, and sometimes when I do these shows, the things that are fresh in my brain right before they start kind of slip out because it gets nerve-wracking, and I'm watching the likes, which I appreciate, and the shares, and all of those things. I think that on some level, our national level politics is, corruption is the right word, but we can't call it corruption necessarily because I'll get deplatformed. But it looks like money has poisoned the well, and money has poisoned the well. So yeah, James Comey, let's unpack this too while we're talking about it. All right, make no mistake about it. The issues surrounding the investigation into Burisma and the Ukraine and the Trump investigation and stuff like that. I want to be honest with you guys. I want to tell you straight up. All right. And this may make some of you upset with me. I am not surprised that no decisions and no indictments and no increasing of awareness is going to be forthcoming. It's not. All right. It absolutely is not going to be forthcoming. Now you saw I think it's the Durham guy, literally said, I won't be filing anything before November 3rd. If you don't think that's part of the political clown show, if that doesn't bother you, if we can't, guys, I know investigations can take a long time when you're dotting the I's and crossing the T's and you want everything to be perfect because you got to go to court with it. I understand that on some level. But the fact that this has been stretched out for 2 years, 18 months. Guys, that says something to us about the system that we're faced with and where they don't stop anywhere when it comes to basically poisoning the well, basically trying to keep us upset, basically trying to keep us guessing, basically trying to give guys who talk 3 hours a day on the radio information to talk about that keeps us upset and angry with each other. All right, so here in Florida, my fiance has received a solicitation from an from an organization that will fill out your ballot with candidates favorable to women. She received it a week later. I absolutely see that this is a possibility. You guys all saw I'm sure you guys all saw. I saw it. The people offering to pay people for access to their ballots. I've talked about that in another show, but let's unpack that one too. That is mail-in balloting absolutely makes that possible. And also I believe that it's legal in some form or fashion. So I don't think you could legitimately pay for a ballot that belongs to someone else, but offering to help someone fill out their ballot is not the same thing as paying them for their ballot. And so I know, and I've mentioned this in the past, we know I've had politicians reach out to me. I see my daughter is in the audience. Oh my God. Welcome to the show, Caitlin O'Connor. I still think you should do a live with me. I think everybody will love you, and that will be great. But okay, let me get to this. Let me finish what I'm saying, though. All right. I've had politicians reach out to me and explain to me that when we see petitions come in about, let's call it the bomb trucks in Otsego County, they come in with 200 people who have the same address or 150 people that have the same address. So basically what they do is they find a population dense area and they they spend some time and they ask people to sign a petition and they get a whole bunch of signatures in really, really short order. Excuse me. And so basically when that happens, I can see the balloting, guys, I can see the balloting working the same way, right? You have a little bit like a charismatic kid going around to a locality and saying, hey, let me help you fill out your ballot. Let's talk about the candidates. Let's spend some time. And I think that if someone else out there wants to share their own personal story with me about this, I would love to hear it. I don't have one per se, but I have a very, very strong suspicion that it happened in New York 19, where there was a lot of assisting in filling out ballots for a particular candidate. And guys, look, I think this is funny. I think that we have to break apart this duopoly. I think we have to smash it to smithereens. So I don't care. Like, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but I'm pretty sure there's a whole business built up around helping people fill out their ballots in population dense areas, period. Okay. And we're going to see an absolute train wreck when it comes to the election this year about that stuff. Money is not the source of all evil. Well, if it's somebody else's money or Bloomberg's money, it's evil. But if it's mine, it's great. I agree, John Generino. I don't think anybody's going to do anything. It's all part of the political theater. And that's, with all due respect, that's Trump playing the political theater. And I don't dislike Trump. I've mentioned that. Okay. I don't see any value in standing specifically against Trump. Which is going to bring me up to my daughter's question, who she sees some value in standing against Trump, and I respect her for that. So let's talk about Trump's taxes. And the reality, there's two realities. Number one, $750 worth of taxes. Reread the article. I know we're not going to agree about this. There's lots of things when it comes to Trump that her and I do not agree about. That's fine. I feel, and you want to know how I feel about it, so I'm going to answer that question. I feel it is one more example of what I try to talk about every single show. And that is that the media creates and irresponsibly reports all sorts of situations. So we want to talk about Trump's taxes as a libertarian. Businesses, as a human being, businesses and people that are in business generate a lot of tax revenue, especially if they have employees. And if they have property taxes and revenue taxes and hotel taxes, these are taxes that Trump incorporated, definitely generated. Now, if you read the article, and I read parts of it and I got bored with it and I went back to it, he prepaid taxes to the order of $40 or $50 million and then carried that forward. So 1 year he had to come up with $750. If you think it's different than that, that's fine. But one of the things that I want to point out, like my buddy Ryan Bradford says, no matter whose taxes they're taking, taxation is theft. So I feel like you're justified in being upset about and wanting to talk about it. I feel like the media does things to our minds and our ids to stimulate responses that are not always based 100% on facts, okay? Cornhole rematch on Sunday. If you're going to be down this way on Sunday, I have 2 events on Sunday. If you want to head down this way, you got to touch base with me because I can maybe make something happen for you, but we got to talk. And yeah, Saturday, if you get down this way Saturday, but Sunday's going to be tough. I don't know that I'll have time to fit in a cornhole rematch. Besides, do you really want a rematch? I mean, right now I am undefeated at Cornhole for Liberty. I think everybody needs to know that. Okay, announcer, to people who are giving out candy have to use tongs to give. My question is, okay. My question is, are the people giving out candy supposed to wing the candy at kids? I think that would be unacceptable if you're afraid of COVID. I think that's an interesting point. This whole let's cancel Halloween as a response to COVID. Let's cancel Thanksgiving as a response to COVID. Based on what information, and that's what I would ask these guys, based on what information would canceling Halloween be appropriate? If you want to say to people that are 45 and older, do not turn on your light for trick-or-treating because you guys have a risk of developing serious complications from COVID, fine. I think the government could say that. I think it would be okay and important for the government to say that. I think that would be a valid function of government. But if we're going to cancel by executive order trick-or-treating, there's no value in that. And so even though you're running against this guy, let's give your town supervisor the tiniest little bit of props right here. Okay, Andrew lists the tiniest little bit of props for saying, trick or treat, but be safe. I think that's almost a valid, and I'm not saying you won't do a better job than him. I think overall you will, all right? But, and I support your candidacy, but this is probably not his worst decision, right? Do you agree with that? Let me know in the comments because I want to know what you think about what I'm saying right there. We should have Halloween. We should be cautious about spreading COVID. Can we have Halloween and be cautious about spreading COVID? We're mature adults. Guys, we watched a debate last night. I don't know. I think we are mature. Taxation is theft. All right. Trump's taxes. You mean the guy who donated one? I think that's could be a reasonable point, right? He donated $1.6 million in his first term as president. He donated his whole salary. And guys, I've been very honest with my conservative Trump-loving friends. I'm not voting for Trump, not because I don't like him, not because I think I should stand against him. And even the same goes for Biden, but it is harder for me to understand Biden. And after that show last night, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, he did donate his money, and I got to imagine that the taxes were taken right out of his paycheck before he got to donate the full amount. Just so you know, that's how that works for everybody else. All right. John Genarino, you're a libertarian. We don't need the government to tell us how to think. And I do feel that the progressive wing of both parties feels like they should be parenting us every single day. And that's why they want to make laws to enforce what they perceive to be the best practices. But they're literally pointing a gun at you to enforce those best practices indirectly. So yes, the American people are smart. They are compassionate. They love their neighbors. And the government deliberately gets in the way of that. Okay, deliberately tries to stand in the way of that. And guys, again, let's do this again. Please, the likes, the shares, the comments, even if you don't agree with me, that's fine. All right. But if you could share this to your personal page, if you can share this to somebody else's page that might find value in this conversation, please do that. And please, guys, if you're out there, I know I've heard from people, guys, when I meet up with people, I've heard from them tell me that they've watched my shows and then they've never made a comment. They never come into the lobby and say hello. And that's fine. But guys, I do appreciate that kind of interaction. And it is one of the reasons that I do this. Because I'm a vapid narcissist who wants attention. Deal with it. Just kidding. I don't think that I am. Whoa. I gotta get that. The thing jumped on me, John. I'll get to yours. You know that. Yes, like I said, that is what his decision there is saying. Hey, don't not do Halloween. That's crazy. Let's be safe about Halloween now. And hopefully he didn't say, like, if I come by your house and catch you without a pair of tongs handing candy out, I'm gonna write a ticket, because that would be awful. But if he said that, then I would have to stand against his position. But as a suggestion, it is acceptable. If you're over 45, if you have a comorbidity, those are things where you just don't turn on your lights, guys, okay? Don't hand out candy. Buy candy for your younger neighbor. Let them hand it out for you. Or put out a bowl of candy. There's other ways of doing this where we can be safe and we can still respect a tradition of Halloween and we can still respect each other and our safety, right? I mean, I think that those are valid conversations to have. What's the best way to let kids have Halloween? What's the safest way? All right. Let them have Halloween, because, oh my God, closing down schools on them and the rest of this stuff, it just silly. All right. All right. This is a big one. All I have to say to you is you are lucky to watch the Rays, best the Buffalo Blue Jays, and every commercial break starts with Joe Biden's head yelling, "We can't yeah, watching Joe's discussion about COVID, I and the absolute desire to blame Donald Trump when we live in a state where, by the way, congratulations on your state being 100% reopened with a far lower fatality rate than New York. I think that there's reasons that happened that have to do with health and vitamin D and the sun, but that's okay. We're going to have that conversation. We're working on that. But yeah, I think that Joe Biden's position on trying to blame Trump for the problems with COVID is like saying, hey, a hurricane came up out of nowhere and a town got destroyed. It's your fault. And I do feel like the Democrats, progressive Democrats especially, try very hard to make those connections in people's minds. And I feel like the mainstream media encourages those kinds of connections. And I feel like that is part of the poison that our society is facing. That's part of the toxicity that our society is facing. When Gavin Newsom is talking about fires in California as a result of global warming, when forest fires have been happening forever and ever and ever, and now we have a way to manage our environment where we could minimize at least the impact of those forest fires. I think that he's sidestepping his responsibility and trying to blame imaginary, or trying to blame Trump. Fine, do it, but it's not a good look. It's irresponsible, and that's the bottom line. What am I going to be for Halloween? I don't know, because honestly, your brother and sister don't have a lot of interest in Halloween, so I certainly don't have to walk them around the neighborhood getting them free candy. So I don't know if I'll dress up as Halloween. I'll be a politician. That's what I'm going to be. I'll probably go live on Facebook trying to beg for votes. Not beg, guys, because I think for a certain number of you respect my views, and I think that I will earn your votes, and I will earn your votes through service to upstate New York. So I'll be a politician just like I am today. Oh, yeah, and that reminds me. As a costume, not even, but I did dress up before the show and had a suit, a shirt with a tie on. And I don't know, I had it on and I was like feeling uncomfortable. And so I took it off, and I just decided that I wanted to do the show as just who I am, a guy sitting behind a desk talking about politics, right? Just a guy in a shirt, maybe having a beer. I don't know. Life in a swing. Florida is a swing state. You're going to see a lot of exciting events. Your TV is going to be filled up by both Biden and Trump, by both the Democrats and the Republicans. Though sometimes I don't think that the Republicans support Trump as much as I honestly, it seems like we get into this situation, and I'm glad you bring this up. We've gotten ourselves in this situation where people love the state, okay? And people don't love the state. And there's Democrats that love the state and the progressive Democrats who think the state can solve all of our problems. And there's Republicans that love the state and Republicans that don't love the state. And they realize that the state is creating a lot of problems. And then it gets exacerbated by the way money gets passed around and they buy regulations from each other. If kids came to my house, I'd give them, yeah, my kids would be like, thanks. My dad already has fruit on the counter that we don't eat. Yeah. What happens is you can, old Facebook used to allow you to repeat, click and bounce things up the screen. New Facebook, if you've updated your Facebook, that is no longer a function. I hope that they bring it back. Chances are after tomorrow, you guys won't be able to see me on Facebook anyway. Not chances are. There's a possibility, right? They're going to be like, okay, this guy's a political lunatic. Somebody could sue him and then therefore sue us, and we're going to get rid of him, which I don't even know. You got it. You got to figure it out. All right. Well, I think that it's going to be a close vote. What we saw with Justice Kavanaugh was I want to say it was an abrogation or an abridgment, or it was actually one of the most bizarre shows that I've ever seen. And I think that the Democrats might have learned a lesson from that. I could be wrong. I do hope that the Democrats learned a lesson from that. If they have valid criticisms, and the criticisms I've seen so far of her as a jurist are not criticisms of her as a jurist. They are criticisms of her as a human being. And as a libertarian, and I've taken controversial stands. I didn't like the way that Dr. Stella got criticized. I'm not saying that she was right, but to criticize a person based on their religious philosophy without taking a look at their rulings, that's a problem. And I think that, again, and that's a perfect thing that highlights one of the things I always circle back to, John. And again, John, thank you for being here. What I'm thinking is there will be some sensationalized news reporting. There will be some strange things like Kamala has already said on Twitter about her religious beliefs are proof that she would be an incompetent jurist or that she would overturn Roe v. Wade. And we don't know that. And so I think the Democrats know on some level that they hurt themselves with their behavior surrounding the Kavanaugh hearings. Now, let's hope that they did. I want saner governance all the time, and we need saner governance. And I think that progressives and really trying to govern based on emotionality is what we have, and we need to move away from that. And again, moving away from that would involve empowering a third party to have impact on elections. Yes, you can, Cliff. I meant to put them back up, but they're still back there. I got the RC Cola. We are the RC soda. We are the Coke versus Pepsi fights to grow their market share, all while crapping on the best cola of all, the RC Cola. Period. The old guard wants their party back, and yes, it is split into. I prefer to think of it as there's the statists that love the state, that their only solution is to grow the state, and they're in the Republican Party and they're in the Democratic Party, and they're the ones that are arguing over, okay, the Democrats come up with a program and the Republicans go, oh, you guys want to spend too much money on that program. We want to shrink that. But the program doesn't even exist, but they both agree that it should exist. It's just a matter of scope or scale and who should manage that. And so, yes, the Republican Party is split in two. I think that the Democrat Party may be fracturing a little bit. I've got to think there's some people in the Democratic Party going, well, I don't think this is our best showing. Yes, she is. She is the libertarian candidate for president. And let's talk. Let's blow this up, guys. I am voting for Joe Jorgensen. Period. All right. She hasn't done anything. Every person is under a microscope in our society. Every high level political person is under a microscope in our society. So Joe Jorgensen is the libertarian candidate for president. I'm voting for her. I'm not saying that you have to vote for her. If you find value in voting for Trump or Biden, that's up to you. Okay, but here's why I'm willing to vote for her. All right. Because New York is going to go to Biden no matter what. All right. That I believe is an unfortunate reality. So if we want to have impact, if we want to grow third parties, and if we want to learn about Joe Jorgensen in the future and how I hope to empower third parties, I think there's value in offering Joe Jorgensen your vote in New York State. She is on the ballot in all 50 states. I don't want to just recommend her cold. I want to recommend her like, please check out her platforms. If there are things that you liked that Trump has done that feel libertarian, feels like he's using restrictions, feels like he's doing battle against regulations that cost people a lot of money, like particularly the prescription drug situation. Joe Jorgensen will do that kind of thing on steroids. She promises it. I believe her. She will. And that's why I'm going to offer her my vote. I don't believe that she's going to win. I'm a realist. But should she get votes, should we expand and grow the notion of liberty through our vote? Yes. Is Joe Jorgensen an opportunity to do that? Also, yes. All right. Should the government and or the protect women's rights? Well, yeah, of course. They should protect everybody's rights. They should protect individual rights, especially against the government, where the government overreach has crushed individual rights and access to the court system has become nearly impossible. All right. So I know I'm probably not answering the question exactly the way you want me to, but yes, should protect women's rights, should protect individual rights. The individual has the right to basically own themselves and govern themselves, period. And yeah, there's personal and private issues or even public issues that you and I will disagree on, but that doesn't change the basis of what our agreement should be, and that is the individuals have rights and self-ownership, and that we should have access to the courts on a way grander fashion. And you're a lawyer, so you should know that. Nobody is going to come out from 40 years ago to accuse it. I know that's a big thing. So what are they going to attack her on? They're going to attack her on religion, right? They're going to attack her because she's a Catholic. And I find that to be one of the most unfortunate dynamics of governance, that there is a war on individuals' rights to religion from every aspect of the government. And the hyperbole of attacking her for possibly ruling on something down the road that hasn't even existed yet. Like the paranoia and the emotional stimulation, they need to do better than that. We need to do better than that. And one of the ways we can do better than that is to ignore them half the time, not even pay attention to them. Honest to God, I think we'd be better off. Yes, we need to clean out the Senate. We do. We need to revamp how we look at our candidates. And one of the ways that we can make gains, guys, is to contribute our vote to a cause. Okay. Third party politics is a cause. It's a reality. If we want more liberty, if we want better Republicans, if we want better Democrats, if we want pure ideology from both of them, because every time they talk about bipartisanship, they do it at the expense of the individual. I don't know if anybody's noticed that, but they do. All right, Katie, we'll see you later, honey. By the way, thank you. I think this is only the first or second show that you've actually made comments on. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate it. My daughter is a superstar, period. She's in Virginia making a living, doing stuff with medical technology on the legal front. She's made a great life. I'm sad that she's in Virginia and that New York didn't offer her enough economic opportunity to return. But that's a whole nother show, and you guys have heard me talk about that in the past. I think either way it goes, we are going to be screwed. Trump gets in again. All these people are going nuts now. We'll go more nuts. And if Biden gets in, he will destroy us. Either way, I think we were in for a fight. So let's go back to, yeah, okay. I love you too, honey. Absolutely. Everybody can hear that. Everybody out there can hear that over and over again. I love my oldest daughter. I am incredibly proud of her. Always have been and always will be. So, yes, let's unpack that. I think that, Cliff, while that is true, I think that occasionally, and I don't even want to disagree. I want to say we invest too much energy in our understanding of the higher levels of government. What they do is deliberately feed off of getting us upset with each other. And there are problems in the city that we don't see here. That doesn't mean that those problems don't exist, but there are solutions to those that libertarians can help with as well. So did I get everything? If Biden gets in, he will destroy us. I don't think he will. Technically, that would be giving them too much power over our lives. If they go too far, all of them, then we have to stand up. That's it. Stand up, forget about them, and take care of each other. And we can do that. We know that we can do that. So I'm very confident. I'm always an optimist. I'm very confident that the end result, either way that it goes, will be us realizing that guys like me deserve your vote and that we can grow liberty and rationality and localize our government. Sometimes I almost think that either way we go there, we win if we proceed on a path of liberty, if we proceed on a path of individual rights, if we proceed on a path of caring for each other and taking care of our neighbors. I don't think that we can lose that way. And so that's why I do these shows. That's why I have these conversations. And that's the reality. And guys, I have a little bit of a family emergency, I think. So I need to get off the air right now. But I want to thank you all for being here. The comments are epic. Think about, don't vote for Joe Cold. Go check out her platforms. Her website got traffic like it's never seen over the course of the last 2 days. That means people are waking up and realizing that we can have this conversation, that we should have this conversation, and there's no better time than now to have this conversation about third-party politics and the impact that we can have on the future for our kids, for us, and for everyone, guys, for America. Guys, that's for America. We want to talk about individual rights for America. All right. Yeah, I think it will be. There's definitely some concern. I'll touch base with you guys later and let you know what's going on. Thank you all for being here. Have a good night. And hopefully I don't get purged and I can do this again tomorrow or Friday. All right. Take care, everybody.